wrestling silly bits too. Having a blast bringing our show to you. They rant, they rave, they won't behave. Wrestling fans, come out your cave. It's time to BS and misbehave. Talking Rasslin, time to go. Ring the bell and start the show. Talking Rasslin, time to go. Ring the bell and start the show.
Hello, welcome in for another edition of Talking Rasslin with Pondwater and Amy. This is an Amy-free episode. She's not going to be able to be with us tonight, so y'all are stuck with me. So I threw on my Superman S. I'm ready for double duty. Here we go. Ring the bell and start the show. Hope everybody's doing all right. Right off the top, I want to give condolences to our former colleague Justin Davis. He lost his grandmother, and we want to send out thoughts and prayers to him during this time. We also lost Mr. Electricity, Steven Regal, former NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion, along with Jimmy Garvin, defeated the Road Warriors to be the AWA Tag Team Champions. He passed this week, so we're going to send out thoughts and prayers to that family as well. Hope everybody's doing all right. I know I am. It's been just came off a big wrestling weekend. Lost Art of Wrestling Friday night in Mount Olive, Mississippi. It was the end of the nightmare. The nightmare known as Jeremiah had his last match. He had a long career here in Mississippi and all over the Southeast, and he went out with a bang against Wes Warren. The Gulf Coast Championship was on the line versus the Lost Art of Wrestling Championship. Winner take all. Wes Warren came out on top. It was no holds barred. Anything goes. They tore up the firehouse. I mean, the mat got taken off the ring. There was chairs. It was carnage, bedlam, and pandemonium. All three referees got taken out. But he released Saturday morning. He released to every fan I entertained, to every promotion I traveled to, and to everyone I shared a locker room with. Thank you. I will miss you so much. And we want to wish the Nightmare. He's been a former guest on this show. I always enjoyed working with him. And if you might want to reach out and say thank you, because of him, I was a referee instead of a wrestler, and 2 of the 3 wrestling matches I have participated in, he ended my silliness very quickly. I was in 2 Rumbles, and he eliminated me both times, real quick and in a hurry. I never broke a sweat. So thank you, Nightmare. And because we all like seeing stuff happen to me, let's take a look at this clip from Friday night, Lost Art of Wrestling. As we see, Ref Obama decided, Sister Abigail. Nightmare is going for the cover on Wes Warren. He's locking him in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, he had him. But here I come. 1, 2. Wes kicks out just in the nick of time. Couldn't get there any quicker. I mean, came running in. Nightmare normally wears a mask. Wes has already disposed of the mask. Wes puts him in a sleeper hold. And I'm checking, make sure. Here we go. That was the first. That didn't go over so great. Wes Warren packs a hell of a punch. He's an angry young man. So there we go. Highly entertaining show. Lost Art of Wrestling does a great job, bring a good message at the beginning of their shows. They had a great card. Man, I'm tell you, there's a 20-minute time limit draw between Sammy Wright and well, look at there. Look at me lock up during the match. I mean, during the show. It'll come to me in a minute. The reason I bring it up is, it's Sammy Wright and Vladimir Koloff. I'm sorry. My apologies to Koloff. Saturday morning, I went so far as to compare Sammy Wright to Ricky Steamboat. When I tell you this babyface, I mean, he sells. He sells tremendously. And the crowd gets behind him and they pull him up. And I'm going to tell you another thing about Vladimir Koloff. His transformation over the years, he went from a very large wrestler to a very slim wrestler. Now he's a very jacked wrestler. His body transformation has been tremendous. He's put the work in the gym. I told him, I said, it's time for you to take that mask off and shave your head because you're jacked like Nikita Koloff. And it was a 20-minute time limit draw. The crowd wanted 5 more minutes. Koloff would not give Sammy 5 more minutes. So we'll see what happens because the winner was going to be the number 1 contender for the title in January 31st. But let's, enough of the local stuff. I want to go to the chat before we get started. Efren's here. Jason Young's here. Thank you, Jason, for showing up. Austin Kendrick, what's up, buddy? Thank you, Jason. It was solid because I didn't have any say in the matter. Willie Thornborough, I did not get any extra cheese on my Whopper. Ben Jones, good morning, sir. Coach Keith's with us. Yeah, I'm with Efren. I think angry. Whenever time that ought to be Wes Warren's theme song is "Angry Young Man." But speaking of angry, Roddy Piper and Greg Valentine were angry with each other in 1983. And they had a chain match at the very first Starrcade. Chain matches have 3 purposes. I mean, there are 3 styles, I guess. You need a chain. They have the chain match where you have to touch all 4 corners to win. I'm not a big fan of chain matches with that stipulation. I think that's more of an Indian strap match stipulation. Texas bull rope match stipulation. I'm not a fan with the chain. I'm not a fan of that stipulation anyway. I'd rather them just beat the hell out of each other and get a pin. That's just me. I'm the same way about my dog collar matches as I am my cage matches. No escape. You could have 2 wrestlers that hate each other to the extent that Greg Valentine and Roddy Piper did. Derek Render. You prefer strap on the wrist or dog collar matches? I have a preference for the dog collar myself. I think the visuals better than being attached at the wrist. I'm 100% in favor of the dog collar. I think that visuals with it being around the neck. I mean, if you got a personal issue, this gets it. And then there's that occasion that, like, Bill Watts did this at the Freebirds in Mid-South blinded the Junkyard Dog with the Freebird hair cream. And the story was they went that JYD could not see his newborn child thanks to the Freebirds blinding him. They bandaged his eyes up and they had a dog collar match in the Superdome, Michael Hayes and the Junkyard Dog. And they did the dog collar match so he would be at the end of the chain and the dog, even though he was blind, could find him. which is pretty badass when you think about it. But the one we're focusing on tonight is the dog collar match from Starrcade, a flair for the gold. Whoops. I don't think this is it. What have I done? What have I done? Oh, man. I can fix this. Bear with me for a second. Okay, here we are. I just put a picture from last week in the PDF. Y'all senior moment, senior moment. This is the visual that me and Derek were talking about. Look at there. And it was really neat watching, and I wish I took a picture of it. The way they set it up, the referee stood in the middle and held the middle of the chain. Valentine had 2 seconds. Piper had 2 seconds, and they put the chain around his neck. They put the chain around Valentine's neck, and then the referee let go of the chain. The referee wasn't part of the of attaching it to him. And Gordon Soley and Bob Caudle were selling how heavy the chain was, but they just pulled back on it like this visual. If you're hopefully you're watching us at markoutmoments.net. They're just standing there with and just staring each other down and pulling with that chain, tightening it up. Yeah, Chris, I messed up. It's like Ben Jones said, we're live, pal. And then they immediately go to work on each other. Valentine had the piece of the chain, started going after Piper. Of course, there's the late Bob Caudle, late Gordon Soley calling the action. That was very, very, very good on commentary. Piper comes back into the corner with the chain. Just to give you some background on these two guys, they started feuding in June of '83, and it was mostly over the United States Championship. The 10 pounds of silver, it debuted with Greg Valentine. He opened that robe. He taunted Piper and telling him that the NWA even bought him a new belt because he's the greatest American U.S. champion ever. I counted 28 matches for the title from June to Thanksgiving. Out of those 28 matches, Piper won 17 of them. Valentine won 11 of them. And 12 of them were just flat out disqualifications. The other nights that they weren't fighting each other, they were in tag team matches against each other. And a lot of those ended in countouts. It was very, very, very contentious between them. The only time that Piper was getting clean wins on Valentine was in non-title matches. But even in title matches, Piper was getting disqualified. Valentine was getting disqualified. And they just hated each other, and they wanted the dog collar match because of the viciousness of it. It wasn't because anybody was running from anybody. It was because they wanted to kill each other. Piper had already had his ear injured by Valentine prior to this, and that was the big story going into it, was the ear. I thought it was weird that they wore the same color tights, and I know if they're not the same color, I'm colorblind. It's close enough that I think they're the same color. Also, when they did the introductions, it was kind of fun to watch because the graphics when they put Roddy Piper on the screen, and they had like a window that spun in. It was they reminded me of the Love Boat credits, which I thought was. I mean, they were doing the best they could in '83. That was just the technology. And they called Valentine the master of the bionic elbow. I've never really heard that called the bionic elbow. So it kind of, when Truck and Tom Miller introduced it that way, I just kind of especially with Dusty Rhodes in the building, because he had just cut a promo prior to an interview prior to this match. But that was kind of funny. Derek saying one of his favorite promos was Greg being interviewed about this elbow drop and him breaking multiple boards with it, and then them showing it in slow motion. They just went crazy on each other. It was a fight, and at one point they quit messing with the chain and just started beating on each other. Here you see Valentine took the chain and wrapped it around Piper's eyes. And you can even do some close-ups where you can see Piper trying to get the chain off his eyes, but he's got that pulled right across. And then Piper comes back on him and wraps it under his nose and in his mouth. So they're using the chain as a weapon. Here, it's hard to tell, but Piper has taken the chain and wrapped it around the ring post and is pulling it like a pulley to hold Valentine in the corner as he beats on him. Valentine will come out. He just jerks him back into that turnbuckle. They get out of the ring and they keep fighting with it. We see that Valentine's busted open outside the ring. For some reason, the referee got in the way trying to get Piper off of him on the apron. The referee, even though there was no time limit, no disqualifications, he was trying to enforce that you couldn't fight in the ropes. Here we see Valentine's really starting to work on Piper's ear. He's gone to work on that damaged ear. And you can start to see, this picture's not really great. Unfortunately, the video, even on Peacock's, really not clear enough for screenshots to come through great. But Piper's ear is already starting to bleed. He's bleeding heavily from his ear. There's Valentine. He's got the chain in his hand. He's constantly that's the story. We're going to work that ear. Gordon Soley is selling the fact that Piper's equilibrium's all thrown off. He can't keep his balance because of it. He's saying that maybe somebody should come out and throw the towel in for Piper before he's permanently injured. And here's Valentine dropping that elbow. And then Piper just goes crazy. Starts beating him with the chain, gets him down, just starts kicking him, just wearing him out over there. And Gordon Soley's even saying that Piper's using the ropes to maintain his balance. Gordon Soley and Bob Cottle's commentary really add to this match. If you haven't watched this match lately, if you didn't watch it, if you didn't do your homework before you came back this week, go to Peacock and watch it. Because when I watched it, and I rewatched it before the show this evening, it actually says 20 days left. And come January 1st, we don't have these archives on Peacock anymore. So get it while you can. Hopefully WWE's got a backup plan, and all this old footage will be back sooner rather than later. I would like to see it go to YouTube just because YouTube's so easy to find everything. Look at that. Look at Roddy Piper's, the side of his head. Look at that ear. There, you see no white there. That ear is completely saturated with blood. Valentine goes for a sleeper. And then we see Piper after he just Gordon was explaining that Piper was able to fight out of it because he didn't know if the perspiration was keeping Valentine from being able to lock it in and stop that blood flow. I mean, just Gordon Soley trying to explain why things were working and why things weren't. Eric's telling me that the FTR versus the Briscoes are the two best dog collar matches. Man, I'm going to have to go watch the Briscoes and FTR's dog collar match. I don't know why I don't know that that's a thing. Thank you for that. Um, Piper started getting that chain and just really starting to beat on him again. Uh, Whenever Piper went on the offense, it was in a frenzy. There wasn't. I mean, he threw a lot of punches, but it seemed like he would just. It would be methodical and then a frenzy, methodical and then a frenzy, and then Valentine was jumping off the rope on him, and Piper jerked that chain, hit him with the chain, and then you see he gets the chain and he wraps him up for the 3 count. This was a non-title match. For all these years, for some reason, I seem to think the title was on the line, but it was a non-title match. And these guys are going to continue this feud all the way to the end of the year. And they're going to continue to do the dog collar matches, and they're even going to do dog collar matches in Canada for another promotion. So this wasn't the only one. And after the match, after Valentine got that off, he was hanging Roddy Piper with the chain outside, and this beating went on for a couple of minutes. And Valentine had to dispose of that referee twice. I think the guy's name was Stu Schwartz, and he was trying to save Piper. Nobody else was, but the referee definitely was trying. And this beating went on. I mean, you can see him that Piper wasn't taking this loss. I mean, Valentine wasn't taking this loss, in stride. He immediately kept the attack going, and I think the post match was just as exciting as the match. I think whenever a chain is involved, it's just like a cage. The viciousness. This is a story of viciousness. These guys, there was not one part I saw no sympathy. I saw no regret and no hesitation to try to inflict as much damage on them as they could. And later, when they both end up in the World Wrestling Federation, the first time they're on camera together and they're both heels, Piper's standing away from, I mean, they're separated, and Piper's even, alluding to the ear, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. And I mean, they kind of acknowledge the tension in the room between them, because I think they're I don't even know that they're forming allegiance. I just remember them being on the screen together, and I can't remember which manager. It might have been Heenan. I don't remember. I do remember seeing that, thinking they were referencing what had happened in the NWA. And I like that they didn't go and just pretend, because I think tonight on AEW, Swerve Strickland and Hangman are going to team with each other like they weren't stalking babies or burning down houses and all the other horrible, horrible, despicable things that they've done to each other. And it's like, oh, my bad. Let's team together. So, I mean, these two were acknowledging the past, acknowledging the hatred, acknowledging the damage done. And Piper sold that ear. He sold that ear till the day he died. I mean, I couldn't tell you that his ear really wasn't damaged, because that's how well Piper sold that ear until the day he died. It was Lou Albano. Thank you, Coach Keith. But back then, you didn't get those acknowledgments. So I was kind of like, and I enjoyed that, because, I mean, I just didn't think you was going to see Roddy Piper and Greg Valentine on the set of a music video. That wouldn't have used, because they never stopped trying to kill each other. So at least when they did get face to face with a manager between them, they acknowledged it. I'm being repetitive. All right. So that's Anatomy of a Cage Match. I'm going to definitely go watch the FTR and the Briscoes, because I can only imagine with the Briscoes involved how crazy that was. Andrew says, despite a long career in national exposure, this is probably the most important thing Valentine ever did in wrestling. So He meant dog collar match. Did I say something? Did I say it wrong? Watch the full trilogy. Yeah, I've seen the FTR Briscoes. I don't remember the dog collar. All right. I don't know, Andrew. Valentine in the late 80s was with Flair in the World Tag Team Championships, but this was pretty much my introduction to Greg Valentine. And then I started seeing him on when he went to WWF and he was the Intercontinental Champion. I said cage match. I don't know what to do without Amy. It's talking gibberish with Pondwater Dave. That's what I'm doing tonight. Anyway, maybe I should have took my W. That's probably what's happened. I'm out of W at the moment. But because tonight's episode is brought to you by the same force of nature that kept Roddy Piper standing when Greg Valentine tried to rip his soul through with the steel chain. Because some days life drags you around the ring. Some days you're bleeding, gasping, trying to reach the next turnbuckle. And some days you need a little W energy to keep pulling that chain forward. W doesn't give you jitters. W doesn't give you crashes. W gives you focus sharper than Piper staring across the ring and heavier than the chain wrapped around Valentine's fist. When the world starts yanking you backwards, when the energy says, stay down, W hands you that raw, stubborn, single-minded fight that made dog collar matches legendary. So when life's got you chained up, when the day is trying to drag you face first into the mat, take a scoop of W and tell exhaustion exactly what Piper told Valentine. You're going to have to break me before I quit. Use code RASSLIN, RASSLIN, for 10% off. Go to W.GG. Fuel up like you're walking into a dog collar match. W energy for the days when you need to pull the whole damn world to the next turnbuckle. I highly recommend the Dragonade if they ever get it back in stock. Thank you, Debbie. This weekend at South Jones High School, Defend the Ville. SWA is presenting Defend the Ville. Doors open at 6. The bell's at 7. This is going to benefit the Brave soccer team. You can get more information at SWA Promotions on Facebook. It's $15 for reserved ringside, $10 general admission. I will be there refereeing the show. This is always a great crowd at South Jones. We're going to have Barry Wolf, the SWA heavyweight champion, teaming with Dalton Delk, Monty Warbucks, and Luke Gleason against Cliff Rogers, Nick Wonder. I'm trying to see how many Nick Wonder and Monty Warbucks both have been on the show. And they're going to tag team with the Black Rangers, 8-man elimination tag team match. This is going to be pretty good. There's lots of bad blood on both sides. Whoever gets to referee this match is going to have their hands full with the Black Rangers. Mike Smith taking on one of the Hosey brothers, Braden Hosey. This is a grudge match. DFB versus the Riots. This is a non-title match. The Riots are trying to, and it's not Paul and Sammy, it's Sammy and Leo. The Riots have this is an incredible combination. So I'm glad that Leo's back in the fold with the family. Derek can't stand Cliff Rogers. I think that list is long and distinguished, Derek. The Riots are looking to become number one contenders for the SWA Tag Team Championship. Noah Hosey in action against Michael Parrish. It's not. I guess Michael Parrish is still the Battle Zone champion, but it's not on the line tonight if he is. Hunter Rhodes taking on Samson Richards. Hunter's defending his Deep South Championship. We've had Hunter on the program right after he won that championship. This is going to be a good show. Last time Derek was in the ring with him, he left a boot print on his face. Yeah. I can see that would leave an impression. See what I did there? Leave an impression. I'm always excited to go to South Jones High School because they show up. I mean, 800 plus, and they are rowdy. It's a great time at South Jones High School. What else we got? Big Time Belts, Facebook.com. Big Time Belts for all your championship belts need. Tell them Talking Rasslin sent you. Go to Facebook.com, join the group. If you can dream it, we can make it. The NCAA Kentucky Wildcats belt. I'm not particularly crazy about the Kentucky Wildcats, but I think the belt's really, really nice. We got a custom CVS belt. We got a custom pinhead belt. I like to refer to this as the bitch belt because it belongs to my friend Russ Miller. Anybody that collects wrestling belts knows for the last 25 years, Russ is a bitch. And we say that with peace and love. But this is his custom world belt that he got made, and we love Russ. I'm standing with Billy Gullett, who did a custom Louisiana championship, Bayou Independent Louisiana championship. He's got it now on his third belt from Big Time Belts. He was really happy to get that. And I was happy that he let me get a picture with it. Look at Tim Robinson. This is the shot right here, y'all. Look at that. That's the kind of smile you get when you pull a Big Time belt out of the box. That big gold is absolutely beautiful. Beautiful work by Zubair at Big Time Belts. And Tim Robinson's he's rapidly approaching a dozen belts and still married. So guys, don't let your angry wife slow you down. I've got almost 80 belts myself, and I can attest they will get over it. The Young Simba Championship. Look at that lion's head on the main plate. Look at that quality craftsmanship, that leather. But that 3D, look at how that lion's head is just beautiful. And then we have the Pan-African Championships. You can get leather, whatever color you want on the leather. Big Time Belts is knocking them out, y'all. They are doing a great job. And we want to thank Big Time Belts for sponsoring our show. We got some exciting shows coming up. We're going to finish out. We got 2 more shows this year. We're not going to do a show the last week of the year. We're going to take that week off. But our friends at Metroplex Wrestling, MPX, that's the promotion that's owned by the Ring of Honor Women's Champion and her husband, Athena, who just celebrated 3 years as the Ring of Honor champion. Austin Kendrick wants to know, was I a fan of ECW? Some of it. I watched some of it. A lot of it was shocking to me. I mean, I didn't get the television show, but I started hearing about it, and we checked it out. Man, I hated the Dudley Boys. God almighty, I hated the Dudley Boys. But Rob Van Dam versus Jerry Lynn locked me in on ECW. And to this day, Rob Van Dam and Jerry Lynn is definitely a top 10 favorite match of mine. Maybe higher. If I ever sit down and just try to really, really think on which matches are, if I tried to rank them in order, which I don't know that I could ever do. Hey, Willie Buck. Rob Van Dam and Jerry Lynn sold ECW pay-per-views. I mean, I watched them until they were gone. I didn't like everything. I hadn't changed much. The things I complain about now, I didn't really care for then. But they had some wrestling. They had some of that hardcore but it was shocking at the time. I mean, now it's some of the most extreme stuff they do is replaced headlocks in today's world. But I say all that to say that MPX Wrestling, live weekly pro wrestling in Bedford, Texas. Tickets at mpxwrestling.com. Coach Keith says, one of the best things I can say, I was there to witness the birth of ECW, never missed a show in Philly. I got to imagine being there was different. I got to imagine it was like seeing that stuff. Because I did go to, when I started training, I went to XPW in Denton, Texas, and they were doing some pretty over the top stuff there. Watch MPX Wrestling on Twitch TV /Metroplex Wrestling. They're doing some they've always have. Y'all, if you've been watching our show, we've had Matthew Palmer on. We've had a lot of the MPX talent on, but the Texas Rumble's coming up next first part of next year, in February. So we are going to go full on MPX over the next next few weeks, over the next 6 shows, maybe 7. No, could be the next 7 shows. And let me tell you who all we're going to have. We're going to have Brick Savage on the show. 6'2", 330-pound powerhouse Brick Savage. Yeah, Willie says he would assume the Sportatorium was incredible. Sportatorium was incredible, but it was a completely different vibe at the Sportatorium. Here we have DeLynn Cavens. Demo Diamond's going to be back with us. He's been on before. He's going to be joining us. Devon Anello. No, I'm sorry. That's Gabe Wilder. Gabe Wilder is going to be with us. I apologize. JD Griffey, who I've known for, almost 20 years. He's going to be with us. Levon Von Trail Jr. will be with us. Raymond Alfred Tressler, he's ring announcer. He's going to be with us. Raisa Clark is going to be with us. I've refereed for her several times. I've been working with her for a few years now. Excited to have her on. Tatum Manning's going to be back with us. Tatum's been on before. He will be with us. TJ Slater. Tommy Prince. And next week, we're going to have Devin Anello. Devin Anello will be our guest next week. So, stop it, Darren Staley. Willie wants to know, will SWA be on YouTube? They record for their own. I think they have their own Twitch. So I don't think that Sam shows up for SWA and puts it on his channel, because they do their own thing. They will do their own They put their own program out. So the next 6 weeks is going to be interesting. We haven't had guests on in a while. We're going to have some nights we're going to have one an hour two, and we're trying to get it worked out where we're going to have 3 of them on as an episode of their own because they're a faction. So looking forward to getting that rolling next week. Drunken Pop here on the channel. Catch them. TJ, Dollar Dave, Timmy C. They're taking care of all your pop culture needs. TNA Top 10 just got through doing top 10 football coaches. They got it right. I was proud of their voters that they got Saban as number 1. I'll agree with Andrew that Tom Osborne probably should have been a little higher on the list than he was. Barry Switzer damn sure should have been higher on the list than he was. But they got Saban right. So Drunken Pop's kind of like whenever they feel like it, whenever they can get it worked out. The TNA Top 10 this week are going to be top 10 cell phone games. Looking forward to that one. Man, I was a bad man with Snake. I played me some Snake when I had a flip phone. Now I just play Monopoly and Monopoly to go and Yahtzee with friends. It's about the only games that I have time to play anymore. And a lot of times now it's got to be a chore that I can't go to bed if I hadn't played Monopoly because I don't want to lose my progress. I mean, I don't want to get behind on the tasks. And no, I don't play any wrestling games, Austin. I tried on the PlayStation. For one, I don't have time to play with PlayStation or the Xbox, and I'm just not any good at it. Andrew will be raising hell about Matt Rule this week. I can't wait. And when Andrew's raising hell, Andrew's at his best. Over on the Dav Network, we have the Double Drop Kick podcast. Kevin Davenport does a great job on that show. It's every other week. If you like wrestling belts, Span on the Globe's got you covered on Thursday night on Facebook and YouTube. And the Question Mark with Efren is now available at Podcast Heat and ad-free shows. This week, last week it dropped. He has Sergeant Slaughter's daughter, Kelly Slaughter's on. Great. Just go back and watch the archives. He's had Big Ben Bishop. He's had Brian Cage. He's had Josh Chernoff. He's had David Sahadi. Very entertaining show. Very engaging. Great questions. Lots of fun. They're not the normal. He doesn't just ask the normal questions. Efren's very enthusiastic about everything he does a great job. Quality human being. So go check out his latest episode with Kelly Slaughter. All right. I'd like to remind everybody over at jumpinthepond.com, we have 10% off. I've extended it all the way through the end of January. Check out what we got. Darren Staley, thank you. Has taken delivery on his shirts that he got. Thank you for your support. Austin Kendricks got his stuff. Thank you for your support. I've been in the ring with Ricky Morton, Austin. I refereed for Ricky Morton last year. It was quite a thrill. Quite a thrill to be in the ring. And watching Ricky Morton teach younger talent, trying to make them understand that less is more and teach them how to work. And I enjoyed it. I got to tell you, I had butterflies. I was semi starstruck being in the ring with him. He's something. I like Ricky Morton. If you ever had the opportunity to meet Ricky Morton, I encourage you to ask him to show you the double wrist lock. The double wrist lock. That's always a neat one to learn. Derek said he'd like to learn from Ricky. Yeah, I was disappointed when they were doing the seminars that Robert was doing them and Ricky wasn't with him. I would have liked it. I would really enjoyed Ricky and Robert in a seminar. When it was in a tag team situation, I got a little coaching from Ricky, and I like that because, you know, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. I'm not slamming anybody when I say it. I show up and I referee, but Ricky Morton is tag team specialist. So while he was trying to tell, you know, everybody why they were doing this and why they were doing that, he was even telling me why I did and where I needed to be and the ways that I needed to look at a tag team match. And I mean, if you can't learn something from Ricky Morton, you can't learn anything. It's going to be a short episode tonight, y'all. Anatomy of a dog collar match was fun. I really like doing these things. The anatomy series is going to go away for a little bit because we're going to have guests. So, but we're going to find out all the goings on. Exciting things happen in the MPX. Also, they're having quarterly all women shows. They've had Mercedes Monet there. They've had Chris Statlander. They've had Harley Cameron. They've had what's her name with Moxley, Marina Shafir. Marina Shafir was there. And they're featuring lots and lots of tremendous female talent. I love that Athena does that. I love what she does at MPX. Her and Palmer work very, very hard on it. They do a great job. They put out a great program. And if I'm not mistaken, they run 50 shows a year. I mean, they're weekly. I think they take off for the holidays, but they run a weekly 51 times a year. So go out of your way to check out MPX. If you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, what are you waiting for? Get over there. They've got their own building. They also venture out and they do shows all over the Metroplex. So check them out. Check out what they're doing. I want to thank y'all for being with me tonight, putting up with me by myself. So I apologize if you came to see Amy and she wasn't here. I missed her. We'll have her back next week. And hopefully you'll be back with me next week on Talking Rasslin with Pondwater Dave. Good night, everybody.
Talking Rasslin, time to go. Thanks for watching our epic show. See you next week, same time, same place. Mark out moments is your